If you're thinking about working with either Senior Life Insurance Company out of Georgia or Lincoln Heritage, then I got good news, guys. This video is for you. So before we jump into it, please give the video a thumbs up, and we do suggest subscribing if you're new to my channel. I'm putting out new insurance sales content, life insurance, and final expense sales training videos and informational videos on insurance companies just like this all the time. So today we're going to be addressing 5 very important things. Number 1, the commission structure for both Senior Life Insurance Company and Lincoln Heritage. We're going to talk about the products themselves because both companies have their own unique products. So we're going to address those a little bit. And both of these companies, number 3, have leads. So we're going to talk about both of their leads platforms / programs and how they work. We're also going to talk about who should consider working with maybe Lincoln Heritage and who should consider working with Senior Life Insurance Company, because one of these guys mainly, I feel, specializes in face-to-face final expense sales, while the other one is more geared towards telesales. And number 5, we're going to talk about which of you guys should probably just forget about both of those companies and maybe end up doing it independently as a true independent life insurance agent. So guys, if you stick around till the end of this video, I'm going to show you how to get 2 very important things that you're absolutely going to want to use during your presentation: the guarantees of whole life insurance and the I am your policy. First off, let's talk a little bit about the commission structure. Now, the one thing that I've learned, I live in Florida, and I recently went, how do I say this, kind of in disguise, incognito, and I reached out to my local Lincoln Heritage people, which I did this 10 years ago too. Back then, they offered me like 55% commission, first year commission. This time, they actually offered me 80%. So look, here's the way I see it. If I'm paying for leads, 80% is not high enough, but now here, this may be a reason for you to go with them. They will actually front you the leads. They'll finance it. So they'll give you leads. They may not be new leads. I don't know. It depends on the area you're working. But the way they do it is they're going to finance the leads. And then when you sell, you pay for it out of the sales. Now, the bad news is if you don't sell and you realize this isn't for you, you're going to end up in debt and they will vector you. So that's the one thing about them, about their commission structure, is they start at 80%. I believe he told me, now I'm going on memory, and I also actually have this in print somewhere. I believe he said it can max out at like 110%. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to get more than 110%. And the kind of, to me, the crappy part was that was with like me having a downline of agents and doing like an insane amount of production, like completely, unreasonable. And here's the thing, as an independent agent, like if you join my agency, your first year commissions would start with some of the products at 110. We've got 2 products you'd actually receive 120% first year commission. All right, that's not what this video is about. Let's talk a little bit about Senior Life Insurance Company. Now, they are, the one thing that they have that's similar to Lincoln is that they're regional groups. So depending on where you live, you would be assigned to a specific agency. And it's that way with both companies. Now, I will say this, from what I understand, the research I did, what they offered me at Senior Life Insurance Company was a lot higher. And basically, I mean, they offered me, and you gotta understand, I'm an insurance agency owner. So they offered me, let me just say it was definitely above 100%. But for new agents, so someone maybe who's new, they will offer you 100% if you're with the right agency. Now that's the key, because I have agents tell me, well, no, I live in this area, and they wanted to start me at 90 and then move me up to 100% later. So let's jump in. Number 2, the product itself. Look, here's what I'll say. Both of these products are a little on the more expensive side. So they're not kind of priced in the middle. I feel like if they were priced in the middle between all the other life insurance carriers, the final expense carriers, then I'd feel like they would actually bring more to the table. But both of them are priced, lower, mainly towards the bottom, the more expensive range. Now, I will say that Senior Life Insurance Company does have some type of a preferred product, but the issue with that is like very few people are going to qualify for that. Like it's going to be rare for you to qualify for it. So to me, that's kind of a huge fail, like right off the bat. And now I can't look at that. I've got to look at what's the reality. It's going to be their standard product. So look, a little expensive. Now, the underwriting and the application process, I will say for both companies, is very good. It's very lenient. And that is the truth. So to me, that's one thing. If you're brand new, one of the hard parts of this whole process of selling life insurance for a new agent is figuring out the underwriting, especially if you do it like as an independent agent, which is why we don't just use an old cheat sheet. Like the independent agents that come work with me, they get access to something called insurance toolkits, do some research. And what it is it's quoting software that not only gives you the prices for all the best carriers, but it also helps you with the underwriting. So that's a little bit more involved. And that's why, again, when I look at Lincoln Heritage Senior Life Insurance Company, the application's very short, very easy. The underwriting is pretty darn easy. They're both actually kind of easy to learn. So you can basically, after you've been doing this for even a couple of weeks with either or company, you're basically going to know, oh yeah, that's going to be level coverage. Oh no, that's going to be graded. Oh no, that's going to be a knockout. So they're going to be easy for you to learn. So let's talk a little bit about leads. So both of these carriers do have their own lead companies. And when I say carriers, I mean companies too. So again, it's, as an independent agent, you have all these different carriers. These companies both have their own product. So there's not a lot of moving parts. It really, in many ways, for a new agent, makes things a lot easier. And another thing they do have in common is they both do generate their own television leads. To me, your TV lead is basically the best lead you can get. The problem is, now hold on, is the ROI. Because these leads tend to be expensive. I know for Senior Life, for their television leads, they go for like $50 and up. Now, with Lincoln Heritage, I don't think they're that expensive. I'm really not sure about the cost because it's changed over the years. I think it's actually more like, I want to say $40. But at the end of the day, you're basically paying a lot of money for that TV lead. So to me, you better be good at closing. Now, as far as carriers are concerned with face-to-face versus telesales, here's what I will tell you. Lincoln Heritage had this huge group of agents. Basically, it was an agency that was under Lincoln Heritage, and they had a bunch of agents, like a lot, that mainly sold over the phone. And they had a free leads program. They stopped that program last year. And the reason, I'm assuming, is because the persistence in the placement was terrible and the value was just not there. So they literally, think about it, Lincoln Heritage literally told this group, hey, you know how you guys, the agency owner, think about it, they told him this, you know how you make all that money off of telesales? Well, you can't do telesales anymore. So to me, right off the bat, that's kind of a red flag. But that was like the group that mainly did all the business with telesales. They have a couple of groups that do a little telesales. I know the agency in Florida does not specialize in telesales. So the last thing I would want to do if I were a telesales agent is get involved with Lincoln Heritage if I live in Florida, for sure. Again, the groups vary, but I feel like they're really geared for face-to-face sales, as to where now Senior Life Insurance Company is the opposite. I really feel like they've got a very simple system for selling remotely, for selling over the phone. So if I'm a telesales agent, I'm definitely going to go with Senior Life Insurance Company. Now, let's talk a little bit about who should work with these companies and why. So one of the things, and I did touch on this, that I do think is really attractive with Lincoln Heritage is the fact that they do the lead financing. So, I mean, that's huge if you're new. But I know I said this at the beginning, I'm going to repeat it. One thing I do see from a lot of agents is they'll be really new. They'll start into the industry with a company like Lincoln Heritage, which Lincoln Heritage, they'll give them the commission, whatever level they get, depending on the area they're in, and they'll front them these leads. They'll advance them these leads. If the agent doesn't sell, which a lot of them don't, a lot of them kind of struggle, if they're new and they're maybe for one reason or another, they're just not someone who should be in sales. And the next thing you know, they're in debt. So that is always going to be the danger. But One of the things that I will say I kind of like about both companies is if you're not sure that you're sold on selling final expense. So, and that's, I think I said it right. If you're just not confident that this is 100% sure going to be your future, then you're probably the right person to work with either or company. You can dip your toes in the water, so to speak. And the reason being, and this is important, is because again, these carriers have their own product. So if it doesn't work out, you can just walk away. Now, let's say you get involved with an agency like mine, where you do want to be an independent agent, you want to have all these carriers. What I do, if things don't work out and you want to go to a different agency, I simply release the contracts. But the problem with our industry is most agencies won't do that. So if you know a little bit about this, basically that means, if you write for example, American Amicable today, and then tomorrow you decide, oh, I don't want to be with that agency, I want to move that American Amicable contract, most agencies won't allow you to move it. So by law, by rule, what you'll have to do is you'll have to go 6 months without writing that product before you're automatically able to be released to a new insurance agency. Which leads us to who should probably avoid both of these companies. Okay, this is my opinion. If you've got money and you're kind of business minded, when I say money, you don't really need a lot to start an insurance business. So like with our platform, I recommend agents have at least $2,000 if you've got experience selling, and especially if you got experience selling life insurance products, then $2,000 is plenty. If you don't have the experience, maybe $3,000. And really, to be safe, if you're really a business-minded person, $3,000 to $5,000 is nothing to you. And to me, you're the right person to be an independent agent, because now you're going to get higher commissions right off the bat. Like I said, we start agents at between 100, some of the contracts, 2 of them are even 120%. And we actually have a platform where with most agencies, you're getting leads. With our platform, you're getting exclusive leads, and a lot of those people that fill out the lead form will actually set an appointment to speak with you on your calendar, or they'll hit the call now button so that they're speaking with you immediately. So I feel like if you're business minded, you're better off being an independent agent. Now, again, beware, most agencies, we all kind of feel like, well, there's certain things that we're better at than others. What none of them are going to tell you is what that negatives are. They'll tell you, oh yeah, we've got this. And unfortunately, most agencies, the ones that won't release you are the ones that are going to be more manipulative. So again, if you're new to this and you know you're business minded, you're already doing your research. You're already looking at companies like mine. You're probably watching my videos. You've been to my website. You're looking at other competitors, other companies that do something similar to what we do. And if not, then I would say you might be better off working with a company like Lincoln Heritage or Senior Life Insurance Company. Another mindset thing that I notice, a lot of people that are used to being employed, I feel like they're the ones that have the harder time being an independent agent, because what happens is when you're employed, you're being managed, you're being held accountable. Someone is on top of you making sure you're working. So I feel like if you're with the right group with Lincoln Heritage or Senior Life, that they're more likely to kind of be more on top of you that way, as to where with an independent agent, you are independent. My agents reach out to me. If they don't want to do something tomorrow, they're not going to get a phone call from me saying, hey, what's going on? How come you're not working? It's just not how it works as an independent agent. It's up to them to self-motivate and actually push themselves. So I would say to a degree, look, the truth is, even with Senior Life and Lincoln Heritage, you're going to have to be self-motivated, because if you don't want to work, you're not going to work. That really is the bottom line. Hopefully, guys, you got something out of this video. If you'd like a copy of the Guarantees of Whole Life Insurance and the I Am Your Policy that I mentioned at the beginning, just shoot me an email at doug@ufesonline.com. If you'd like more information on working with me on our preset calendar appointments and exclusive leads platform, just shoot me an email at that same address. As always, when you put the needs of your clients first, everything else will usually fall right into place. So get out there or get on your headset, whatever happens. Just make sure that you do something good for someone else today. Happy hunting.